Whatever pain you're feeling, whatever confusion you're feeling, whatever frustration you're feeling, whatever judgment you're feeling, whatever hurt and maybe blame for another person you're feeling, these are all within the mind. These are viruses of the mind. And pretty much the virus of our mind, it's like a calculator that starts punching up equations all on its own. If I say right now, I am choosing to say this, that is me actually choosing to say that. But everything else, this that just runs on autopilot, the voice in your head that doesn't stop, the root of suffering is we think that is us. And it, you know what, maybe it's not like this for everyone, I assume it is, but mine always looks for negativity. It always does. It always looks for a reason to hurt, to be attached to suffering, to be frustrated, to blame on other people. So what I've been doing today is completely accepting how I feel regardless of what it is. You know, sometimes I struggle with my voice and the way it sounds. And sometimes my voice sounds very different from day to day. And I'm like, why doesn't my voice sound the same? So, you know, you may struggle with how you look, how your body image is, your career, your relationships, anything. The mind is always trying to make problems out of shit, and it's trying to solve them, but it can't solve them because it's making the problem. So can you completely observe everything you feel and everything you think without trying to change it, without trying to label it, to not judge your judgments, feel your pain, feel your hurt, and just watch it for what it is? It's a continuous cycle. It wants to operate like this. And the problem comes in, the root of all suffering, the attachment to suffering, is you believe the lies your mind is telling you. You believe the voice in your head. This voice in your head is not you. You are the one who listens to this voice in your head. And it's kind of funny because I was driving for an hour this morning, and I had a really rough morning. I was feeling really self-judgmental. And it's kind of funny because as soon as I've been feeling really alone lately too, like really alone, feeling like no one gets me. And what am I doing here? It's funny because I'm like, okay, that's just the mind saying that. So I observe that, and then it dissolves. Then my mind jumps to the next thing. Then it tries to blame someone or something. I'm like, okay. Then I watch that. Then it tries to jump to the next thing. And I find this spiral deepens and deepens into these layers. And it's kind of funny. It's just looking for something. It's looking for something. And I find that's when we bring in distractions into our life. I've pretty much cut out all the addictions in my life, like coffee, sugar, weed, porn, so many things. I've majorly cut out TV as well, like screens. And I find whenever I'm having these, we can often want to run when this shit comes up. We're like, oh fuck, this hurts. I'm gonna go like, even food. Food is huge too. Relationships. What is the quality of the things we are seeking, and why are we seeking them, and why are we putting our time into them? And oftentimes we're coping. We're running from the problems the mind are making, and sometimes there's some shit in us that needs to be felt for what it is without judgment. If you think of what you feel as a person, and that's you, like your inner child, are you going to not accept and judge your inner child for what it's feeling and thinking and invalidate it? No. It needs to be completely accepted for whatever the fuck you think it is. Because when the mind tries to put a label on what things are, and then we don't actually feel what it is because it's never that. It's beyond our mind-made mental description, the virus of the mind. So I think of my mind as a calculator. that's operating on its own. It's coming up with all these equations and shit, and they don't mean anything. And as soon as I believe them, as soon as I place my identity in them, that's when it hurts, because it's not true. It's a lie. I'm actually believing a lie. And there's nothing. They say the truth hurts. Well, you know what hurts more is believing a lie, is living in a lie. And we're living in the lies of the virus of our mind. Placing our identity in our mind, placing our identity in our thoughts, when our identity is beyond our thoughts. It is beyond our conceptual mind. This calculator, which is a tool. It's a tool that I can use to speak and make this video right now. But I'm consciously using this tool right now. And we all have the voice in our head that runs all the time on autopilot. And as soon as we believe what the mind is saying on its own, that's what they call ego. Just to simplify it, that's what they call ego, is when we believe our thoughts. And we think we are our thoughts. We find our identity in our thoughts. So it goes so deep. And when we give ourselves time and space to actually feel what's going on and let it be, like, let your voice be how it sounds. Let you look how you want to look without, not how you want to look, but let yourself be without labeling yourself. Let things be as they are, instead of trying to figure them out, because they can't be figured out. They're beyond description. And we want to limit them and put things in their box and label them, because they can often cause us distress and suffering. But that's what causes the distress and suffering, is we're trying to put a name and label on it. And we're believing these lies of the mind. And then when we're living in that pain and suffering, we usually cope with many different addictions. And addictions can come in any form. Any form. You could be smoking crack, or you could be like binge watching Gossip Girl. You could be doing so many different things. It could be an addiction to driving. You know what I mean? So completely accept yourself right now, unconditionally, for whatever you think, whatever you feel, whatever the mind is saying. Accept it, but don't try to change it, but don't believe it either. And spend time being like, okay, interesting. Okay, I'm observing you. And see what it does. See where it tries to go. Because for me personally, and I can't be inside of anyone else's head, but mine usually tries to go to negativity, and it's kind of funny. It wants to find a reason for the way it's feeling. But a reason can't be found in the mind. The reasons can be felt. And we're feeling beings. We're sensory beings, right? We have the ability to think. But feeling things for what they are, then we begin to understand them for what they are, and not in the little boxes we want to put them in. And we put rules and bounds on these thinking structures, which they hurt. They make us suffer. So whatever day you're having, whatever week or month or year, feel that and be okay with it, and be like, this is just what I'm feeling right now, and what I'm thinking about might not necessarily be true, but feel the feeling and find gratitude for the feeling. Yes, that's a point I wanted to make. Can you find gratitude for everything you're feeling, regardless of what it is? So even if you're feeling a lot of pain and hurt, can you find gratitude for that? Because everything was sent for you to grow. And sometimes we make up stories about why we feel the way we feel, and that creates suffering, because it's not meant to make a story about it. It's just meant to be felt and accepted as it is. And then we make a story, we hold on to that story. It perpetuates these things. The story of our mind keeps the suffering going, and attachment to suffering, because we believe the story. But be grateful for the story, because you see it as a story. Okay. Lots of love.